Hey guys, Luby News here. So today I'm going to be doing another character analysis sort of video, and after my last video I got an overwhelmingly high response rate to do one on Mikan, which I am not complaining at all. Mikan is one of my many Danganronpa waifus, so I'm very happy to analyze her, but so far it seems like you guys really like this series, which I'm really excited about because I'm sure at this point you guys know that I love to just analyze the crap out of stuff, and this series really lets me do that with a lot of characters that I really think are just really well written, and a lot of characters that I really like, so I'm really enjoying the series so far. But without further ado, let's begin. So I'm going to start off with the free time events with Mikan, and from these you learn that she was heavily bullied from a very young age. It's implied that she was emotionally, physically, and even sexually abused pretty much her entire life. So something particular I noticed about Mikan's free time events is that she never mentions her parents once. She only refers to her home life once in the game, simply saying that she was beaten often in school and at home. When referring to her abusers, she only calls them bullies. She never says anything like, "Mom and Dad beat me," or something along those lines. Some of me wonders if she doesn't even recognize her parents as that. If they did treat her like every other bully like the game implies, I wouldn't blame her for not recognizing them as parental figures. When discussing with Hajime about what these vaguely described bullies did, she mentions that they burned her with cigarettes, threw darts at her, made her impersonate animals such as a pig, and even made her strip for their amusement. So my idea when thinking about how her home life could have been is that possibly she was an unplanned child and never had a stable father figure. This means that her mother could have hated her existence, and this could imply that her mother highly neglected her, convincing her that she was some sort of mistake and that her existence was worthless. And this would make sense as to why Mikan is constantly asking forgiveness for her existence from the others throughout Super Danganronpa 2. And something that supports this theory is when she's talking to Hajime during the free time events, she expresses fear that when nobody is paying attention to her, she feels as if nobody cares about her existence at all, and that this is something she fears more than being abused. Going off the idea that being ignored is her worst fear, we can assume that many of the compromising positions that she finds herself during the game is actually purposeful. I think this could imply that she receives sexual abuse at a very young age as well, and this is why I sort of have the theory that she was an unplanned child of a single mother. It would make sense that when she started developing into a woman that her mother's boyfriends would begin to take interest in her and possibly sexually abuse her. And even though this of course is bad attention, it is attention of some sort that she did not receive from her mother. From experiencing this at home, she could have brought this sort of behavior to school as well, where boys took advantage of it and made her strip, which I mentioned before was something she said in her free time events that happened. But there is no confirmed sort of childhood for Mikan other than that one mention about being beat at home. This is just sort of my idea as to how her personality could have formed. And although we know that being ignored is her ultimate fear, I'm assuming that her least favorite thing other than that is the physical abuse she received. I'm guessing this because during the free time events, whenever she felt that Hajime was upset with her, that was when she would offer to take her clothes off. So this implies when she was referring to being beat at home, it was probably because of her mom's boyfriends, or an abusive father figure of some sort, and that whenever they would try to physically abuse her, she would offer to strip or do something sexual instead, and that this strategy would work for her. Through the large amount of physical abuse she went through, Mikan eventually learned how to treat her own wounds. Also, she learned this because she sort of implies that nobody else would take care of her, so she began taking care of herself. And she began doing this exceptionally enough to be scouted by Hope's Peak Academy as the ultimate nurse. Notably, she reveals the reason she enjoys nursing people is because they're the only people she really recognizes as being weaker than her. So being weaker than her, they can't really cause any sort of like physical or emotional abuse to her, and it forces them to have to give her positive attention because basically their life rests on her hands. And on top of that, it ensures her that she will never be ignored as long as she has the patient to take care of. And at the end of her island mode in Super Danganronpa 2, she semi-threatens Hajime, saying that she wishes she could injure him to the point where she would have to take care of him the rest of his life so that he could depend on her and never leave her side. But back to Mikan's timeline, after she was accepted into Hope's Peak Academy, she befriends Mihiru, Hiyoko, Ibuki, and Sato. While wandering around the school, the five friends discover a corpse in the music room, which is later revealed to be Kuzuryu's little sister. And once Kuzuryu learns that Sato was the killer, he murders her. Something particular about this part is not only was it used for the Twilight Syndrome murder case in the second trial, but also if you sort of look back to the third trial where Mikan falls into despair and gets her memories back, notice that the two people that she kills are actually the only living people up to that point in this friend group. And I think that was possibly a way for her to try and create more despair for herself, and not necessarily because she loves despair as much as Junko does, but maybe more so to create more despair for herself because she knows that Junko loves it, and she is obviously obsessively in love with Junko, which I'll talk about a little bit more in a second. She could have even possibly been trying to impersonate what Junko did herself to create the most despair in her life. For Mikan in this instance, it would be killing the two people that she was the closest to in her past life, and for Junko, it was killing the two people she ever admitted to loving with her bare hands. But after joining Hope's Peak Academy, she meets Junko, who takes advantage of her personality. Junko manipulates her by pointing out how wrong the people who abused her were, but also that she, Junko, was the only person that could ever come to love and understand her. Possibly, I think she could have used that she was like her only one and true soulmate or something along those lines, since Mikan does seem to be a very romantic sort of person. She has a very strong belief about love, so maybe she took advantage of that as well. Something else that Mikan mentions a lot through the entire game is that she wants forgiveness. But the question is, what does she want forgiveness from? Her line saying, "Forgive me," is most prominently seen in the third trial, but it's really, if you pay attention, she says it a lot through the entire game. And even in a free time event, I think she does mention directly to Hajime that she does want forgiveness for her existence. I think Junko could have really convinced her that her life was meaningless, and this is how she sort of manipulated her into thinking that it was, fine for her to give up her life for Junko, and this was what really pushed her into despair, because she sort of came to the point where she believed her life was meaningless. The only thing that had meaning in her life was Junko and doing things for Junko, and that is why she was willing to give up her body, her mind, her life, everything up for her. As for some sort of facts and random trivia about her character, in an interview with Kodaka at Ritsu Mikan University, he mentions that almost none of Mikan or Fukawa's actions were censored out, that he likes erotic and violent jokes but doesn't like anything too vivid or direct. So that's something sort of interesting. And also in the official concept art for Mikan, it's pointed out that her hair is uneven because it was cut out by bullies. And also when you play Danganronpa Ultra Despair Girls, you can see a poster in Chapter 1 of Mikan Sumiki in the hospital building. One last thing I saw was on the Wikia page for Mikan. It says that her first name means mandarin, as in the type of orange, and that her last name means sentry. On the Wikia page, it says that her last name could reference how she killed out of the despair Junko had planted inside of her, or it says that it could possibly mean to reflect Eve from the Bible, who committed the original sin relating to the Tree of Knowledge due to the human desire to try and do what is forbidden. And the way that this relates to Mikan is that she committed a double murder in a way to sort of please Junko because of her romantic attraction to her. And then it states that she is also similar to Eve through the concept of not being forgiven for her actions. Also, when you guys in the comment section of my top 5 most fucked up moments video, the YouTube user Ginger Dwarf pointed out that in the Japanese version for Super Danganronpa 2, it also implies that Mikan was the one that basically fucked her corpse by trying to transplant Junko's womb into herself so that she could become pregnant with Junko's baby. I've only played the official English translation for Super Danganronpa 2, so I found this tidbit of information to be very interesting. But anyways, I hope you guys enjoyed my analysis video for Mikan, and I'm really enjoying this series so far. Thank you so much for all the comments and likes and stuff you left on my last video. I'll definitely continue this series, and I will try my best to keep you guys updated on 3 and V3. Still no information as of yet, but I'll let you guys know as soon as anything happens. And until next time, I will see you guys real soon.